shebunya to my little mini so say a bay and so in your house to Kani Yakata Komina Eddie and Ramuta Mayan Sassuota to say Omano Saviero Omano Sariero Aya Sata Oma for Granatre Omano Saviero Omano Sariero Aya Sata Oma for Granatre
A very beautiful lady. Our late former president, Jerry John Rawlings. As we all know, we lost our president yesterday late hours. So let's go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk more and learn more.
Baby, I will free. Said dear Omoya Omaniama, Kasa Omoka, Omundiania Omudi, any Amamre and Kasankasa, and Nishia Trama, and my four Amunsiashe, a hand time jar, any Amaswo, and my Yesunya Bibia, Yatu Yamamre Asylum, and Penny Foka send me say, Refu come here Abaya, was a jabase, and not in a premium TV coffer by, ya did you ready on a swa, Yatuni didn't say, Shawa Mamre. What you made you see a cockroach biaso, your bobra baby beer a war, your bisa omoniama, said your omoka among some effa, said your mamma etsi anka sankasa, your rear ediaba studio, ne abeja for but nasi atchin como, a day afaho. Near me did you make dear what she me, mediam this one, efua, jaboa, Jan. Make a show a mamra, no what just swam, me say, a mamra, who here, premium TV, shaping global, true culture.
Hey, Mount Tonyo, Georgia Bay. Hello, Conila.
Hi, Anas.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm very fine by God's grace. I'm glad to be counted among the living, because yesterday it was very sad to hear that former president just lost his life like that. No one ever expected it to happen, so yeah, I'm fine.
Sure. Okay, Connie, can you give us a brief biography of our late president?
Okay, so he was born in 1947 in Accra at Adabraka. And then he proceeded to some Mr. Sam school, and then went to Achimota, and then went to Teaching Military Academy. That's where he went to become a flight, learned how to fly a plane and all that. Yes. So he married Nana Kunedu in 1977, January 29. Yes. So his mother is Victoria Agbochu, and they were in Ghana, and then his father is from Scotland, James Ramsey John. Yes, so after marrying Kunedu, he had 3 children with her, Dr. Zinato, Yasantoa, Amina Rawlings, and a son, Kimothy Rawlings. Yes.
Okay, so like our sister Conila said, Jerry John Rawlings completed his senior secondary school at Achimota College in 1967, and then he joined the Ghana Air Force shortly afterwards in Military Academy at Teishi. Also, in March 1968, he was posted in Takoradi in the Western region, and he continued his studies over there in Takoradi. Also, he graduated in January 1969 and was commissioned as a pilot of a bird trophy at the cadets. He also earned the rank of the flight lieutenant, and in April 1978.
Yeah.
Okay, so Conilab, what else do you have for us when it comes to
so I want us to talk a bit more about his marriage and then his family and his children and all that. So I happened to listen to a documentary on Rawlings, and then it spoke about how he met Kunedu in the same school as he went. They met in Achimota. So after he went to Achimota with Kunedu, they split up. So Kunedu went to the university and he went to the Teshi Military Academy. So then after he went to the military academy, and then he came back to come marry her after. So they met again, and then they dated for about a decade, and then got married and had children. So I think Rawlings is someone who, like, if you listen to his story, he's very focused. So he knew that he has to get job first before he goes for the woman he loves. So I think he really did well in that aspect. Yes, so it's someone who has been with her till now.
Okay.
Yes.
And then when we come to his military services, okay, during his services with the Ghana Air Force, he received a doctorate in discipline and morale due to corruption in the Supreme Military Council. Okay, and then as a promotion brought him into the contact with the privileged classes and their social values, his view of the injustice in the society was hardened.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was regarded with some unease of the Supreme Military Council.
Yes.
Sure.
So in 1979, he planned a coup against Ignatius to a champion, because he felt as if the economy was being mismanaged and the corruption in Ghana was so much. So listening to his story and his discipline, I think he's been very good. And he came back again in 19. So he handed the mantle over to Hila Liman. Yes, he handed this over to Hila Liman, who ruled from 1979 to 1981. Yes, and he overthrew Hila Liman because he felt as if the economy was being mismanaged again and Ghana was becoming so poor. So he took power, and then in 1992, Ghana decided to go into military. We decided to become a democratic state. So we had to draw up a constitution, a new constitution, and then he had to form a group to go and investigate what they can do to make Ghana better. And that's when 1992 constitution was drawn, and then we decided to go for our first election. Yes, so that's when democracy came to Ghana, and then I think the people saw that he really did well with running the country, because they voted for him again. Like, after being in military, because those days you hear that when Rawlings is there, you can't do this, you can't sell, assuming you are selling rice at this price, I can't go and sell it at a higher price. So I think the people
sell it in the same price.
Yes, I think the people term. And then, in a democratic state, you can only rule for 2 years. Sure. That's 8 years.
Yeah.
So that's how come we...
And though...
Yes. What the country has really gone far. It's trying so much, like nowadays, people say that if Rawlings was there at this time, we won't be suffering like this. Ask him. You see, Gary got to a time. Gary that we used to buy at 7 cedis is now 15 cedis. So assuming Rawlings was
during the lockdown was 20 cedis, 30 cedis.
So I was wondering, so if Gary is even sold at 20 cedis, what will happen to rice? And surprisingly, Gary prices, and then the rice we import is sold at 11 cedis, 12 cedis.
And we have some time corn comes to the extent that we buy it at a very low price. Now you can't even buy corn, just normal corn, our own natural corn. We can't buy corn because everything is now expensive now. And some this person is going to sell it at a low price, and this person is going to sell it at a higher price. Do you get it?
Yes.
Yeah. And when we come to a champon,
yes,
we heard he was. But according to what we've seen, it wasn't only corruption, but also he was maintaining Ghana's independence. Colonial powers that led to the economic decline and
yes. You see that portion, like let's see, you see our British government are the ones who colonized us and all that. So the Champon was trying to make us look like we depend on them, look perfect in their eyes, while the country was really suffering because his own people are the ones stealing and making themselves rich, and they say that there's no money in the country. And then they go to borrow. When they go to borrow, we don't happen to see any development in the country. It goes back to their pocket. So I think that's when Rawlings said, no, this one, I have to do something. I have to save my motherland. That's why he came over and overthrew him. Yes.
Okay. On 15th May 1979, Rawlings and 6 other soldiers staged a coup against the government.
And was it successful?
Oh yeah, it was with Fred Akufu, but he failed. Okay, he failed and then he was arrested. He failed. That was Fred Akufu. He failed and he was arrested. And let's go and watch some of the videos during his military tenure. Yeah.
You said I don't have one. Hey, I look serious.
In 1992, the country was open to multi-party elections, and Jerry John Rawlings hit the campaign trail as the presidential candidate for the National Democratic Congress. The NDC has a vision of social development, economic justice, integrity, and accountability. As he spoke on the podium,
this country is not going back. She's moving only forward.
It was clear that JJ was still a man of the people. He continued to hold true to his beliefs that enabled him to rise up against the economic injustice of the 1970s.
When we took over the reins of the economy, ladies and gentlemen, at Bosco, places like that were dead. Our AGC was producing what? Half or 1/3 the current volume. 1/3 the current volume. We have triple AGC's goal. When we started off with nothing. But one thing, the truth and integrity. The truth and integrity. And this is what has brought this country out of the darkness. Now that we are beginning to see the light, with the responsibility and the duty of accomplishing what we set out to do, do we want to see the clock turn back? Do we want to see the clock turn back?
After 58% of the population voted JJ for president, He was sworn in on the 7th of January 1993 to become the first president of the Fourth Republic.
I,
Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings,
Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings,
having been elected
to
the high office of President
President
of the Republic of Ghana,
the Republic of
And in 1996, President Rawlings and running mate Professor Atta Mills were on the road campaigning for re-election, which they won.
This victory is not a victory to sleep. It's not a victory for laziness, but it's a victory to work even harder. Democracy is to be able to have dialogue, to be able to debate issues.
Together with cabinet, the president and commander-in-chief determined general policy of the government. He consulted with traditional leaders as well, which kept him in touch with the grassroots.
During Jerry John Rawlings' tenure in office, a mausoleum was built in honor of the late Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah.
Kwame Nkrumah was not perfect, and I may be one of the most critical people about certain aspects of his government. But I will never deny him nor any man the praise for outstanding achievements, and for Dr. Nkrumah in particular, the things that made him a great figure in history. On this 32nd anniversary of Ghana's Republic Day, we are laying Dr. Nkrumah's remains to rest at the site of his greatest triumph.
After 7 years of fighting in Liberia, stability was returned after Ghana contributed troops to a multinational force created to end the conflict. Jerry John Rawlings played an integral role in the final peace process, which was brokered through the Economic Community of West African States.
The instability of Liberia is affecting the stability of the sub-region. It's making it difficult to attract investment. It's making it difficult, to improve the image of Africa. So I'm suffering, not indirectly, directly, both through the contribution of my troops to bring about stability and through the fact that, look, it's creating a wrong perception of Africa. So we have a moral obligation to do what we can to bring about the necessary stability, because we're all being judged, all of us, despite the efforts we're making. We're all being judged just by, little things happening here and there.
I mean, quite frankly, I just don't think it's fair and right that Liberia, that used to be, a former colony of America, should have degenerated into a carnage of that kind. No Western country lifted a hand to assist her. And yet she didn't actually need that much. But when it comes to the European theater, the whole of Europe, NATO, the US, everybody pumps in all the necessary resources. And yet we didn't need a fraction of that to assist us in Africa to deal with our own problem. And it's not as if we were not making, our own efforts as members of the ECOWAS community when we put together some troops to move into Liberia and to stop the carnage. We didn't have enough resources. All we could, and being members of the UN, quite honestly, I mean, there was no reason why they could not have assisted us in a very humble way. And had they done so, we could have brought this Liberian situation under control a much longer time ago.
The hard work of the 1980s built a strong base for Rawlings to go to many countries to promote the good name of Ghana for viable foreign direct investment.
It might be going too far to say that we're hoping to become a trading powerhouse. We're only making our very humble effort. But the point is that precisely because of the political stability that we've enjoyed in this country, I mean, the world has virtually come to our assistance, you know, led by the IMF and the World Bank, as well as some of the other Western communities, in order to help us lay the foundation for a developmental takeoff. We've used these resources to build roads, to extend electricity into as many regions as possible, and very soon there will not be a single district in my country that will not have energy. In other words, there will not be a single place in that country that will not be, you know, potentially viable for industrial takeoff. Yeah. So that we virtually lay the foundation now for, you know, developmental takeoff.
You want businesses to come in. That's one of the reasons you're going around the country.
Precisely. Yeah. And that's part of the reason why we're here. If I may use the word seductive. We're here to seduce as many American businessmen as possible to recognize that, you know, for all the efforts that we've made, I think it's only obligatory on their part to do what they can to invest.
The video of our late Jerry John Rawlings. Hello, Conila. Can you tell us some of the achievements?
Yes. So he became a peace ambassador for some time because he was very strong-willed. He was a peaceful man. He always wanted peace to exist. So Libya, Sudan, Liberia, there was war. There came to a time there was war in those countries. So he went and he happened to help them settle their wars. You know, as the video was playing, you could see that there were wars in the country and all that. So Rawlings happened to maintain peace, and in Ghana he extended electricity to northern part of Ghana. The issue the north is in the desert part, so he extended electricity. So he made people in north have light and electricity and all that. And then he established the SNIT. The SNIT we enjoy today. That you go and put your money there when you are old, and then you go for your money 60 plus you are retired. So he established this SNIT because of the good work he did. You know, he became the peace ambassador by UN. UN awarded him peace ambassador. Yes. And then he achieved economic and political stability for the countries Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Sierra Leone, and Guinea-Bissau. Yes, so that's what he did for them.
Okay. Is that all for the achievements?
There are lots more. Then you see, Ghana became very poor, so he established economic recovery program and suggested that the World Bank, as suggested by the World Bank. Yes, so he did a lot for the country. Yes, and then you see, it came to a time Ghanaians in Nigeria were deported to the country. So when they were deported to the country, he brought them back. He made sure they got places to stay, and when they got places to stay, he took care of their families. Like when they came back to Ghana, they went to Ewak. He gave them places at Ewak to stay, and then located them to places they could go and stay for. Gave them places, jobs, and everything to settle. So yes.
Okay, so this is some of the achievements of our late Jerry John Rawlings. Let's go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are going to talk more about the military career, his awards and honors. So let's go for a quick commercial. Don't forget, this is Premium TV and it's Election Highway. Like our Facebook page at Premium TV Ghana. Stay tuned.
Edwidie Winsome, Doba Winsome, Brandon, Brenton, Dia, Deba Cope and a Mecanfo Eddie Emao, Brands Aid Limited, and Kuana, who bets many on maybe to say, taxi top advertising, brand activations, billboard fabrications, general printing, outdoor advertising, any afro-frobe brie, Omo eso eda from say Boko, who be whom on with Shakwan or Kwashiman, Presbyterian Church, no do we need show Sunny Faso Pepe, who bets me afro almost 0546 944 411 0546 944 411 ana obetimi asra omo e wo mabefo tenten fide eso www.brandagh.com. Brands 8 and 9, your original branding ventures.
Okay, welcome back from that break. We are still on Election Highway live on Premium TV, streaming live from Accra, the Akuman Circle Station. You should like and share our Facebook page on Premium TV Ghana. Hello, Connie. Okay, now we are back to Jerry John Rawlings. It's a really sad moment for us and Ghana at large. We want to talk about the military career of our president, and also the political career. Okay, so do you have anything for us for military?
Yes, so his military career actually started in Achimota. Sure. You see, during those days, there was a JUTA, like what we call cadets now. So then he joined the JUTA and then became their head because of how good he was and how very disciplined he was. He became their leader. So after he completed Achimota and then he proceeded to Teshi Military Academy. That's when his military career actually started. So that's when he started military career. I think like from the onset, like you see you are born, probably are born to be a journalist, probably are born to be a representative, people are born to be bankers. So he was born like from his childhood because his father was also a military man in Scotland. So probably it was in his genes. So as he grew up, he just decided to go through with the military academy and all that. So after he went to Teshi, and then like in 1996, he plotted his first coup because he felt the country wasn't being run well by the leaders. That time it was Ignatius who was in power. So he felt the country wasn't really run. So like he was like, how come there's money in the country and then we are suffering and then probably the people in the country are suffering. You see that they don't have food, they don't have money, they don't have water, and then the leaders are living luxurious life. You compare the leaders to the citizens and it doesn't balance. The leaders are at this height and then the citizens are there. So he decided to plot a coup, but it didn't succeed. Yeah. So they happened to send him to jail where he lost his fingers. Yes, and then when he came back, he plotted another coup. I think he's a very determined man. Looking at plotting the coup, because you plotted a coup and then it didn't succeed, and you were arrested. And you came back again, came to plot. Dana, will you do that? Will you do that?
Oh no, I wouldn't do that.
Yes, everyone loves their life, but you see that people are born leaders.
He did that just to save his country.
How?
He did that to save his country. You know, Rawlings is a very peaceful man.
Yeah.
And like the way things happen, you might think he's not a good person. He didn't love his country, but from the way things went to, he loved his country very well. He's peaceful. Rawlings is peaceful. He loves peace and he loves his country so much. So everything he did, even though he did bad things, but he did everything to protect the country Ghana. That's why and you know everything he did today is helping us. You know that he brought peace and we are still in peace due to some of the things that he did. That's the reason why Ghana is one of the peaceful countries in the world.
Yes, so plotting his first unsuccessful coup and it didn't succeed. So going to Kumasi's prison, you could lose your life, but fortunately or unfortunately for him, he just lost his fingers. So after losing your fingers, probably because it was his first offense, they just decided to overlook stuff. You know, in those days, too, the reason how you can plot quiz, you see GBC, there was just one station in Ghana, that is Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Yeah. I think it's around Accra, somewhere about years. So when you just go to Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, you're able to take control of the TV station, you just go and announce that I have taken the country into power. That's how coup was plotted in these days. So I'm imagining comparing previous coups, how it was plotted till now. So now when you go and take control of GBC and now the other stations, no one will regard you. So now it's very difficult to plot you. So after the first coup he plotted, it didn't work. If we were you and I, we'll say, this one there.
You just give up.
This one there, I've been lucky, so I won't go again. Yes. But then he came back again because of the love he had for his country. But I think that means we overlook the love he has for us, and then we'll be like, JJ, he killed this, he did this, he did that.
You see, he loved his country and he was determined to do what he wanted to do.
Yes.
Because if it was you and I, Connie, to be frank, I've done this and it didn't help me, my life is saved, I should go back again. No, I wouldn't do such a thing. And you see, during his political, before he was voted in, you know, people loved him.
Yes.
When you watch the video, when he went to the polling station to vote, people were happy seeing him,
yes,
and they were giving him the assurance that he was going to win. So even though he did those bad things, still they liked him because due to some people he helped.
Yes,
he helped them so much. So
it just reminded me of my school. When I started school, like I didn't think it's going to be difficult. So when I started school and then it was so difficult, I wanted to give up. But school, I had paid my fees and everything, and then when I started, you had to pay everything in full. So when I started at school, like I wasn't seeing anything. The teacher would teach, I'll go and learn and come. When I bring the exams, it looks like I wasn't even in the class. And I told myself that the school day I have stopped. I won't go again. So me, just first year, I lost hope. Even my hands was still there, my head, everything was there. But then I decided to say, school day, I've stopped.
Okay. Sure. So you see, from Rawlings' issue right now, during his military, okay, he did a lot of bad things. He was killing people, he was overthrowing people, like people saw all that he did. But yet still, they liked him so much. And he was very brave.
Yes,
he was very brave. And he was doing right things that are right. You know, when I was a child, when I was growing up, my mother used to tell me there was this president who came and he was killing people.
Yes.
Even my uncle once told me that he was once going somewhere and he saw, it was very late at night. So when he was headed towards, there was no car and he was trying hard to get a car to get back home. But he saw cars coming, and the way the cars were coming, he realized he wasn't safe. So he had to climb this tall tree. So he was there, and then he saw that the car had stopped. When the car stopped, he had to, they opened the car boot, and then they brought a human being out of the car boot. He didn't know what was going on, so he had to be stable and look at what was going on. So he was watching, and then he realized that that person has been killed that moment. So he got scared. He was shivering, but the lucky thing he did was he couldn't shoot the tree.
Yes.
If the tree should like, people will know that someone was there, and they will try to find him and kill him because he has seen what happened.
Yes.
So he was there. He was afraid though, but he had to be brave. So he stood there. When the car left, he realized nobody. He stood there till morning. Then he came back. But when he came, he couldn't speak. So they were telling me that Rawlings was evil. When Rawlings came, was that. When Rawlings, I was scared. Okay, I was really scared.
You know one thing about Ghanaians, when you are doing the right thing, when you are making everything right and perfect, we don't like it. You want that we will lie to you, be deceived. People will tell you that this and this. I've realized that, you see, listening to our teachers and history and all those things, if you listen, what normally they propagate the bad aspect. They never tell you that this was what the government was doing, this is what the ruling party was doing, that's why he decided to seize power. Because I think he's been very good. Even me, school that I paid for car, I am stopping because I am tired. Imagine Rawlings plotting the first school and it was unsuccessful, and then he lost his fingers and then went back again in 1979 to take it. I think he really did well because he really liked to see his country.
Okay, so now
suffer.
from Rawlings' issue,
yes,
we realize that as a human being, no matter what you do, good or bad, at least you get people, that thing is going to help someone, and you're going to get those people to. Because look at his wife. You knew how this man was, where he came from, and yet still she was okay to be with him.
Yes, because we are looking at the good aspect. It's not a bad aspect. You see, from the outside, probably I don't know you, and the first time I meet you, I speak to someone, a person like this girl, she's not good. And like when you get closer to the person, then you know. I was even listening to Zinato talk about their father, and then she made mention of the fact that their father was hardly with them because the father dedicated time to the country to serve the people of the country. How many people will be happy that their father are serving the country, and then you go to school, you hear people say, "This your father, your father is that, your father is that."
I know, though we were young and we heard this about our late president, but when we started growing up, we started liking him. Me like this, I didn't like him, but when I grew up and I realized this is Jerry John Rawlings, all of a sudden I began to love him. Yes. I really wish he would be my dad. So why would it be like? And I know someone hates him till now just because of what he did.
You see, I think this is the part we should advise Ghanaians to stop listening to what people say about people. We should take the books and read. It's written somewhere somewhere that if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. So
that we don't like reading.
You don't like reading. Your mother will just tell you, Rollins. So it got to a time too. The country went into drought. I think in 1974 or something. So there was Rollins chain. If I'm slim, yes, I'm slim. So when I wear dress, people like Rollins chain. In Rollins time, there was farming and all that. But we forget to acknowledge the good thing he did. So so after he seized power in 1979, he didn't want to rule the country. So he thought like Hillary Mann was the best person to rule the country. So he gave the seat to Hillary Mann.
So now 2 years back, you came back and you're like, he's not doing what he's
not doing it well. Because looking at their luxurious lives and looking at the country, he said, Hillary Mann, so I gave you the thing. I thought you can do the thing, and now look how you just mishandle the state and everything like that. So he came back again. That time he came to overthrow Hillary Mann, and then that
was the Third Republic, right?
Yes, that's the Third Republic. And in 1992. Because Hillary Mann has managed the state and the economy was so bad and then the country badly needed money. So he decided to go to the IMF for monetary fund for money. When he went and then they said they are not going to invest in a military system. So Ghana has to become a democratic state. You know the Western world, we're practicing that already.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So then they aligned certain things for him. That's when he came and he formed a group. And then the group had to go around the country and survey to how they are going to make the country very democratic. And that's when he decided to stand for, since he sees that the man couldn't do the job, and then...
So, like, according to him, like, he hated nonsense.
Yes.
Liman was acting like the previous ones.
His successor.
So he had to
take power from him. So he felt that, these people, I thought I gave them power and then they are going to do everything perfectly. But they weren't able to do so. In 1992, he formed a group and then they had to form the constitution. So they had to travel to all regions in Ghana and then see how when someone is a president, the person will rule and then everyone will be happy and favorable everybody will be favored and all that, so that people will not become richer than others.
Yeah.
So he felt that he's the best person, so he decided to retire. You know, in our constitution, before you become president, probably before you take up presidential position, if you are in the government sector or anything, you have to resign. Because you can't be in the military and say you are contesting for presidency. So when you contest for presidency and you lose, would you come back to the military? We don't do it like that. So you have to resign according to the constitution. So he resigned as a flight lieutenant colonel.
Okay. Yes. Let's go back to Rollins' life, his wife and children.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Let's go back.
Yes. So now that you've mentioned it, I listened to Zenato saying that even though the father wasn't really there all the time, but the least chance he got, he spent it with them. And then she mentioned the fact that the father taught her how to ride a bicycle. So when she was younger, at that time he was advanced in position. So he was a leader at that time. Probably he was the flight lieutenant at that time. So then before he went, his guards were around, and then you see bicycle for kids, there's something smaller to support it. So when he was going and he said, he took off his uniform and gave it to his guard, and he said that, sit on it, I will show you, I won't let go. So as they were riding the bicycle, and then he held it from the house, so the distance from his house to the gate will be about probably 15 minutes walk. So he held the bicycle and then pushed it to the gate. He didn't let go. And then on the second trial, so he told Senator to master courage. And on the second trial, he pushed it and then broke the supporting wheels and let go. And he told Senator to do it, and she was able to ride a bicycle. And then she also said that the father taught her how to fly a plane. Okay. You know, he was
strict, he was autocratic in a way, but he was a very nice person.
He's a loving father.
Okay, so let's talk about his sports life.
His sports life. Yes, he's a sportsman.
Yes.
There was a recent photo where he had to go talk to the Blasters. I think they were going to play a match, and then he went to talk to them to motivate them that they can do it. Probably he'll be like, in my days I was doing this, in my days I was doing this. They were saying that I can even play football. So it was very nice. It was very nice to know that your former president and our first president of the Fourth Republic was supporting them. So I think that's the main reason they were able to win their victory recent match.
They were like, he ran a race at Elwak.
ever. So I know of he being a horseman.
Yeah.
So according to his daughter, in his house there are a lot of animals in the house. So you know, dog and cat, they don't. If you see dog and cat, you hardly see them walk together.
Sure.
But in his house, he managed to make the animals befriend each other.
But you know that now dog and cats are really friendly.
Really?
I have a dog and I have cats. And when my first cat, the female, whenever it gives birth, at least the dog has one. Yes. So the dog will have one as its child. So the cat might think the dog is its parent.
Okay. So then, so he made the cat befriend the rat. Like how do you do that? Yes. So like and because he has a lot of, he loves animals. He's in his hometown, so he loves animals. He has horses. He taught his daughter how to ride a horse, and then.
But how can a cat befriend a rat?
So like when I listened to it, I felt as if she was a bit exaggeration. It was a bit of an exaggeration, but I think she was saying the right thing. Probably you say cat and dog first. You know, in the olden days, cat and dog,
yeah, but you see, for cat and dog, when they're in the same house, and then for the beginning, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But if they realize they eat together, my dog like this, it's cool with the cat. But when it's time to eat, and you add their, unless the dog is not ready to eat or is not interested in that food, but when you add their food together, that dog, whilst it eats, then when you see the cat closer, he is going to make noise, okay? But and then also when you start giving them the food together, they will realize that we are supposed to eat in one bowl. So they are going to be used to it. But in the case, when you give them the same food in the same, you can't eat slowly and they eat little. But dogs, they eat very fast. So when you join their food together, the dog is going to finish everything and then the cat will still be hungry. So that's why we have to separate. But sometimes when you give the cat's food and the dog feels like there's something special in the cat's food. So the dog wants to taste the cat's food, and the cat also feels like sometimes when they exchange, they will be eating and they will exchange. I don't know if they communicate to each other. So you see, a cat and a dog, it's somehow easy, but a rat and a cat, this is.
So she's just implying that the same way he's able to make animals that don't meet, as in like cats and rats, meet together, coordinate. That's the same way he has effects on human beings. You see, for the first coup he plotted and it wasn't successful. Like probably the people he plotted a coup with will be mad and say that you want us to die, so we're not going to join for the second coup. But I think he motivated them and spoke to them, and then they are able to, because human beings, once we go once and then it doesn't work out, we give up. But then he's able to gather courage and come again and come and overthrow them. So in 1919, so from 1981 to 1992, we were having a military regime, and he decided to become democratic. So he's the founder of the National Democratic Congress. So he was the first presidential candidate on the ticket of the NDC, and then he won. Yes, and then he contested again. Since our constitution allows us to just go for 8 years, that's 2 terms, he decided to bless his vice president, who is the late Professor John Evans Atamels, to contest on the ticket of the NDC, but he lost, and then his opposition Kofor won. Yes.
Okay. You see, we were in Ghana here, and we heard that these 3 cause justice were killed.
Yes.
So now we never got to know who and which people killed those people.
Okay, so I happened to listen to another documentary, and then it was part of RAWLINGS schemes, because he felt that when your case goes to the court, since you don't have money or nobody have irrelevant, so he felt that if you take them out of that position, since the judiciary is supposed to speak for you, and then you go because you don't have money, and then the president will like do this, so he had to just take them out so that the country, like, so he's cleansing the country from the top to the bottom. Yes.
But this Supreme Court justice,
yes,
they were vulnerable people.
Why do you say vulnerable?
Because actually they were justices.
Yes.
In a court. So why is it that these people, though they might not be that important, but at least we should have follow to know that this is what, or this is how and why they were killed. But it's like everything was just put behind.
Okay, so you mean Ghanaians, the news went around that he just killed them for no reason?
there might be a reason, but we didn't.
No, I'm saying that the news, like as in people said, he killed them for. You see, that's one thing about Ghanaians. We don't find out what happened and how everything happened. And so he cleans the judiciary system so that when he puts people there, they'll talk for you. So now it looks like when you have a case against someone, once you don't have money, the wealthy person goes around and goes to pay, and then they'll do everything in his favor. And that's not how the judiciary system is supposed to. It's supposed to speak for the poor and help people who are not able to, yes, to seek justice for all.
Okay, so that was some biographies and some achievements and the lifestyle of our late Jerry John Rawlings. We are still live on Premium TV, and this is Election Highway. Okay, so Connie, I have here some of the awards.
Yes.
And Anna, but I think that was in October 2013. In October 2013, he was honored by a degree from the University of Development Studies in the Northern Region, Ghana. Okay, so did you hear about that?
Yes, you see, he established the university. You realize that pre-colonial era, it is said that the Northerners don't like to go to school.
Yes.
That's why since Nkrumah's day, they decided to give them free education. So in the northern part of Ghana till today, they enjoy free education, free lunch and everything. So he wanted to upgrade the north. He wanted to upgrade the northern region. Therefore, he decided to build the University of Development Studies, which is still standing. And it's not only in the northern region, now there are other branches in Ho, yes. So I think he really did well. And he established a library for them. And then he used, there's this fund he used to start Hunger Award Prize money. You see, he won the Hunger Award Prize. Whenever you win an award, the money is attached to it. Those big awards, money is attached to it. And that's the money he used for the library. So it shows that he's a selfless man. Probably I worked so hard and I win an award. Would I invest it back into the country? No. But then he did. So then that's how come he got that award for. Yes.
Okay.
And then before we continue, I would like to talk about how he really trained his daughter Zinato to pilot a plane. You know he's a pilot, right? Yes. So she says on his first attempts, they were both sitting there, and then he did. You know he has his own plane. That time he was really advanced in piloting, so he decided to teach his first daughter, that's Dr. Zinato. And then Zinato was sitting by him like this, probably like this, and was like, watch how I paddle and everything.
Okay.
So Zinato just watched how he did everything. And in the second attempt, he sat on the other side and gave her the steering wheel and was like, sit here and I'll do it as I taught you. And then he told her to land at an exact position. So probably we say land here. And then when the Zinato went beyond, they did it again till she landed at the same spot. And then the last time he got out of the plane and then asked her to take off and land by herself. So at that time, that's when Nana Kunedu Ajima Rawlings came and she was like, where is Zinato? And he was like this. So that day, the mother was really disturbed, but then it ended up well. So everything went out perfectly.
Okay, so let's read some comments from Facebook. Okay, so we are still on Election Highway live on Premium TV. We'll be bringing you some comments from our viewers. Kodilove. Okay, so let's talk about his political history.
His political history.
Yeah, like his career, political career.
Yes.
What he came to do.
So I've already stated that he established the National Democratic Congress, and I think because he is the founder of the National Democratic Congress, that's how come the National Democratic Congress is still standing till today.
But PNDC,
yes,
was PNDC before National Democratic Congress? That's NDC.
No, so the PNDC was in the military era.
Yes.
They had to form a group to overtake the country, to rule the country. But then when he came to a democratic state, he couldn't use the same PNDC, so he had to create another one, which is a provisional national. That is the NDC, National Democratic Congress. And because he was the founder and a very tough man, that's why the party still standing till today. There are other parties that were created. Imagine CPP, that's Nkrumah's party.
So his career started from 1981. That's PNDC.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. So that was after his military career.
Yes. So I think because he is the founder, CPP, you know, CPP was created by Nkrumah. Yes, but then since Nkrumah died, CPP is no longer there because our father, what's his name, Indu, contested for this party and then he wasn't succeeding. So imagine Nkrumah was still alive and Nkrumah was still in the country. I think the party will be moving forward because Nkrumah will say that I did this, therefore I'm appointing this person to take over and all that. But then Nkrumah is nowhere. And NDC, our father is a Papa J, as foundly called by the NDC. So now that...
So let's read some comments from Richard Kwaben. What is happening to NDC? Whenever we are heading towards election, prominent person passed away. From males, Emisa and now Papa J.
Okay, so his question, I don't know how I'm going to answer it because I can't say that probably someone has planned something bad against the NDC. But I don't really know what the problem is. But then Papa J's own, it's alleged that he suffered from coronavirus because during his mother's funeral, he went to to bury his mother recently. That's 24th October. And then they say after he buried his mother, he's been sick in the hospital for some time. So his own, I can't say. And then Atamel's own too. Oh, it was a very sad moment for Ghana.
Yes, Atamel's our president, at Atamel's, you were just a president on seat, and then you just died.
Yes, that was the first time a country ever lost. And
then Mr. Akatu, we lost him recently, and now Papa J.
So I don't want Ghanaians to look at it from the perspective that NDC.
Banu edwedie ho nsɛm dawuba ho nsɛm Brenton dia deba kopɛ na mekanfo ede ema wo Brands Aid Limited nkoana obetimi ne omede dwuma bi te sɛ taxi top advertising, brand activations, billboard fabrications, general printing, outdoor advertising any afofro bebre omobo eso eda fom sei boko obehu ometira kwan ewo Kwashiman Presbyterian Church no do ni tro sani fa so pepepe obetimi afra omoso ewo 0546 411 0546 944 411 ana obetimi asra omo ewo mabefo tenten fide eso www.brandsaidgh.com. Brands Aid ana your original branding ventures.
So the next honor and awards of our late president in 1993, he used his $50,000 US to as a project for this hangar, okay, as a prize. It was, I think some people were really suffering. I think that was 1993.
That's the famine.
Sure. So he used his $50,000 US as a seed to sponsor the establishment of the state-owned university.
Yes. Sure. So he's a very selfless man. Many of us will not do it in these days. That there's no money in the country. Imagine you getting an award for something you labored so hard for, and then you invest the money back into the country. Yes, he's a very selfless man. What other points do you have?
Now our late president who just passed on, that was yesterday, leaving us in a very sad mood. Well, he was ill for the past 1 week. That was what we heard. Like he had been to Olebu Teaching Hospital for 1 week, and then his illness was related to coronavirus. That's COVID-19. Yes, and also that was 2 weeks after he buried his mother when this incident happened. So it's really weird.
Yes. So now that you raised the issue about Papa J, we losing Papa J probably to coronavirus and COVID-19 for short, I think that the government has to really do stuff because you can't keep losing prominent people like this. So I'm wondering, what's the country be without our strong pillar? Because you know, sometimes you remember that recently there was Western Togoland issue. It was Rawlings who went to speak about the issue. It was Rawlings who stepped in and went to speak about the issue. So imagine we lose our strong pillars. So now when there's a problem, who will go and speak on behalf of the country? Who is going to be there? So I think the government has to do something, like as in the wearing of face masks and face shield. It's not there anymore.
You know, coming to this nose mask, face shield, and this washing of hands. Okay, in Ghana, we are thinking the pandemic is not really existing. Okay, they don't care. When you tell them coronavirus is still in the process, so we should be careful. COVID-19 is really dangerous. We should be careful. We should be that. They'll be telling you it's not really necessary. Some will be like, putting on nose mask give them problem. Some are saying putting on the nose mask give them cold, and it's really killing us instead. So they are not really. And then the drivers are now not checking that anymore. When this pandemic was really serious, when you are not with your nose mask, you are not supposed to be in the vehicle. But now our drivers, our church mates drivers, they don't really care. Even the drivers are not really taking the safety protocols. Okay, they are not really obeying it. Okay. So we the passengers too. Sometimes when I sit in this church truck, sometimes the only person with the nose mask, some don't even care. The hand sanitizer, they don't even have it because they think the disease is not really in existence.
You know, you can't really blame them, because if you look at the campaign, with the rallies recently held and all that, you hardly see anyone with nose masks, and there's no even water to wash your hands. So I think our leaders are not really trying for us. Every time we come with the nation's updates, but we forget to tell the people that the virus is increasing. So I'd like to give an update of the coronavirus in Ghana. Okay. So there has been 5,800 confirmed cases in Ghana and 61 new cases each and every day, and then 320 deaths. And then there are 48,179 recoveries. So now active cases are 1,839 cases. Now the issue is, now how come we don't hear about coronavirus? How come the publicity is going down?
The COVID, yeah, we hardly hear of COVID-19 nowadays. If it wasn't that our late presidents, they are saying that what killed him is related to COVID-19, we wouldn't even think about this.
So they say related, it means that he had an illness.
Yes, so because according to that, it is related. It wasn't confirmed that it was COVID-19, but related. Okay, so I think some companies too are no more using mostly it is the banks. So far, the banks are really
and the churches.
Yes, the banks and the churches are really, even the churches. Some of the members. It has been said that they should use this, but some of the members, they don't really care. They think putting on the nose mask, washing of hands is stress.
I don't think it's from them, because our leadership. Look at our campaign. You will not hear the leadership come announce that tomorrow we'll be coming to La Paz. So when you are coming, come with your nose mask, face shield. If you come without them, you'll be allowed to return. I think the leadership is not trying, and we can't continue losing our great pillars due to COVID-19. So I think the leadership should step up. The media should continue their publicity on COVID-19. For me, I have even forgotten that there's something called coronavirus. So imagine all our old people are suffering from these diseases, because you know when you get to a stage in life, he's 70 plus, so he has an illness, probably he'll be suffering to walk, a bit of stroke and all that.
But Rawlings look very strong.
He looks very strong because he was once in the military.
Oh yes.
You know, there's a saying that once a soldier, always a soldier. Yeah. So once he's in the military, he's used to hard training, so his body has blend to be very built and very strong.
Okay, when this COVID-19 showed its face, that was March. Okay, we had 2 cases, 3 cases, 5 cases, 8 cases, 10 cases, 5 deaths, 1 death. Now 320 deaths. So if COVID-19 is killing us this way, then what are our leaders doing about it?
Okay, so I think we have pictures of the campaign of both the NDC and the MPP, since they are the major political parties on the screen. So looking at the pictures, you won't see anyone in coronavirus protection. You will not see anyone in COVID protected item. So I think the leadership is not trying. It's true that we are going to elections and then we need to vote for our president. But how is the country going to be in January? Because schools are supposed to reopen, JHS, SHS, universities, and
okay. So what is our current president doing about it? Because we are supposed to go to school.
Yes.
Okay. And in January we are supposed to go to school. So what is he really doing about it?
That's where I come in again.
Sure.
I'm saying from my perspective, it seems the campaign and the rallies is all that really matters to them. I feel as if the leadership should step up their game, because if we don't take care, we'll probably go into another lockdown.
And to remind of this, you see, our presidents, our leaders, okay, and these are presidential candidates. We know COVID-19 is really in existence.
Yes.
But I've realized that anytime they go for campaigning,
yes,
most of them are not with the nose mask.
Yes. So one time there was this musician who came out and said, Do you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who has COVID? So I think our leadership should really step up, and then we can't continue losing valuable lives like Papa J. And then there was a chancellor at the surgeons and physicians school. He also died out of COVID. So we should try our best, and then the leadership, please take care of yourself. You are the only one your family has. You have to provide for your family. You have to be alive for them and yourself. You won't die and leave your children alive. So if you know you are sick or probably have little illnesses, take care of yourself. Adhere to the safety protocol. Don't say because they are not wearing, you will not wear yours. Okay. You have to wear and protect yourself and your family.
Okay, so like my co-host said, let's all observe the safety protocols, and also let us all be careful where we go, what we do with the nose mask, and then let's wash our hands, and then with the hand sanitizer, because if we love our lives, then we need to protect our lives. And also we should just listen to the president when he gives us any directions on the COVID-19. Okay, so this is where we end today's edition of Election Highway, and we spoke about our late president, Jerry John Rawlings. Okay, so I will give thanks to my viewers, my director, my producer, and my cameraman. We will meet at same time next week. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Once again, I am Anastasia Clote with my co-host
Cornelia Mount JJB.
Thank you.
Interactive.
Becoming interactive. At first, what you guys were doing was
yeah.